Hello and welcome to the Grace and Bacon YouTube channel. My name is Jessica and in today's video we are going to be making the Victoria Wristlet from Mormino. Today's video is part of the Marathon Sewciety. We are all doing the Victoria Wristlet. So I just want to say thank you so much to Mormino for allowing us to use your pattern in today's marathon. Be sure to check out anyone that you missed earlier today and then also check out anyone after today. They'll be available to watch anytime you'd like. So the links are down below. And then also make sure to subscribe to my channel and everyone else so that you don't miss their videos or my videos in the future. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started getting our pattern pieces together. So you're going to need pattern piece 1 for the main panel. This is also for the lining. You'll need 2 cuts for your exterior. I'm using this beautiful fabric that is waterproof cotton. Actually, yes, I think this is waterproof cotton. This is from Mormino. I don't think this is available on her website right now. Hopefully in the future, maybe. She'll have it come back. I don't know though. So there's 2 pieces here. I went ahead and installed my magnetic snaps on this main panel for the front. I've got 2 cuts for my lining. This is from Wonderground Fabrics. I'll make sure to link everything that I'm using below. So 4 cuts for that. I went ahead and I did my wallet portion of this. Lauren does have a detailed video about how to do this, and I'm sure someone may have this portion in their video as well. I just went ahead and took care of this part. And then you're going to need 2 pieces for your V-shaped pocket. You're going to need an exterior. And then you're going to need the lining portion. I went ahead and installed my magnetic snaps on that as well. You're going to need your V-shaped accent. This is pattern piece number 3. This is also from Mormino's website. I will link this down below. I'm pretty sure she has this. I think she's got it. I'll check. Either way, I'll link it down below. And then I've got my pocket pieces here. You'll need 2 for the lining. I'm also going to be using the sew-in label, which says pretty as a rose. This is also from Mormino's website. And then I'm going to be using an overlay for my pocket. And then you'll need 2 pieces of lining. I was originally going to do it according to the pattern, but I decided later on that I'm going to do an overlay. Those are really fun to do. Probably my favorite kind of pocket to do, and I think you could do that with just about any pattern. You're going to need some zipper tabs. I have 2 pieces. Again, this is waterproof cotton, I think, so you don't want to have the raw edges. So we'll go ahead and fold that in half. And then I've got 2 D-ring connectors, and I'm doing 2 because I am going to be making this into a crossbody wallet, a crossbody bag instead of doing the wristlet. And then I've got my webbing here. I will not be making this adjustable only because I'm finding that the adjustable sliders are kind of too wide for this, and when I'm using my bag it's causing it to slide and adjusting the length that I have it at, and it just drives me crazy. So I went ahead and cut this to 50 inches, which is where I like it for me. So it's just going to be one length, no adjustable. And I've got my zipper here. I've got it folded in half. This tells me that this is going to be my main zipper. And then I've got my pocket zipper. I'm using these Rose zipper pulls. This is from also Mormino's website. I'm going to be using 2 1/2-inch D-rings, again, because I'm going to be putting on a crossbody strap. And then I've got 2 of the my lobster claws here. And then I'm gonna try something different. Instead of putting a bag tag on my bag, I'm going to, if I remember, to install this where I install my main zipper, and then that way it'll hang there and you can set your keys on here if you'd like. And it's got my logo on here, just something fun and different. I thought I would give it a try, and I think that is about it. You're probably gonna need some double-sided tape and some scissors, a ruler, some clips, and I'm sure I'm forgetting something, maybe some marking tools. All right, guys, I'm excited for this one. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start off with my main zipper. Make sure that you put your zipper pull on. I'm sure many of us, I know for sure I have forgotten many times to put on my zipper pull, and I've put on my zipper tabs, and well, we all know what happens with that. So I've got 2 pieces for my zipper tab here, and again, I'm using the waterproof cotton. So I went ahead and drew my center line, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold our edges, the raw edges, to meet that center line, and I'm just gonna kind of finger press. This material is a little bit similar to like a waterproof or maybe a water resistant canvas. It's very soft. You can just finger press this. You don't have to go to the iron. And then we're going to fold this in half like hot dog. And I'm going to insert that zipper end into the fold of this material here. And I'm going to clip it together. I like to have my zipper tabs be a little bit long, just in case. And I will sew down this this bottom edge down here at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. You could fold down the folded edge if you'd like to. It's not necessary, but totally up to you if you want to do that. So again, on this one, I'm just folding down these raw edges. The raw edges to meet that center line. And then we are folding that in half like a hot dog bun. And then we're taking the zipper end and placing it right in the center of the fold, and grabbing some clips to put that into place. So it should look like this. I'm also going to go ahead and grab my 2 D-ring connectors. I believe, yes, I already have that already. I made my center marks and I added some double-sided tape here. I'm going to do the same thing basically what we did with the edges of our zipper tabs. You're just gonna fold those raw edges to meet that center line. There we go. And we're gonna sew down each long edge at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm going to go ahead and do this on the second D-ring tab. All right, so now that we have the zipper done, we've got the zipper tabs on, and then we've got our D-ring tabs ready. So now it's time to add the D-ring tabs to our D-rings. So now you'll want to place your D-ring tabs through the insert of the D-ring. You want to have your wrong sides together. You can baste these down if you'd like, or you can wait until it's time to work on the front panel and go ahead and sew them at that time. Totally up to you and what you want to do here. But I'm just gonna wait until we sew the front panel together. So we can go ahead and set that aside for now. We're gonna go ahead and trim down the zipper tabs since I do have them longer than they need to be. I also went ahead and marked my center marks on the zipper. I don't recommend cutting into your zipper because it could cause it to fray later on, and you probably wouldn't want that to happen to your bag. So just mark it with something that will disappear, like an air erasing marker. That works pretty good. All right, so we're done with these. We'll go ahead and set this to the side. Okay, so this is the step where you would be making the wristlet strap if that's what you decide to do, but I decided to go ahead and make a crossbody strap. I cut the 1/2 inch webbing to be about 50 inches since I'm not adding the adjustable slider. I just don't think that the adjustable sliders that I have work well with the webbing. It just tends to um, it doesn't keep the strap where I want it to. It just keeps moving and I just don't like that. It drives me crazy. So here I pulled the webbing through the swivel hook here and I'm folding it over about a 1/2 inch here. I'm not really using any rulers for this. I'm just kind of eyeballing that, and later on I do add some rivets to this. If you want to do that, you could add rivets or you could sew a box or a couple lines if you'd like. If you're using not adjusters, but if you're using the swivel hooks like what I'm using here, you don't have to worry about whether or not the strap is straight because it swivels around. So now if you're using the adjustable slider, then you definitely want to make sure that your webbing is straight so it's not wonky or twisted. Okay, so I went ahead and added the rivets to my strap. So we can go ahead and set that to the side. Now we will go ahead and grab our pattern pieces. You'll want to grab your piece 3, which is the V-shaped accent and also the V-shaped pocket pieces, the exterior and the lining. This is where you're going to want to go ahead and add your magnetic snaps. If you have not done so already, you're going to have that on your lining piece and then you're going to have it on your main exterior piece. So make sure you use the template provided so that you can have your snaps in the right places. So now we are going to go ahead and add the V-shaped accent to the front V-shaped pocket. You can add some double-sided tape to the back of your accent if you'd like, but I'm just going to go ahead and clip it together. We are going to go ahead and place this on top and then we're going to baste this down. I will start sewing from the bottom edge of the V-shaped accent and baste it all the way around. And I'm going to do that at an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I am using a 4.5 stitch length here. I just want to mention here that if you do have a wide foot on your sewing machine, that it might be a good time to switch it to a narrow foot. And if you don't have a narrow foot, it might be best to switch it over to a zipper foot. That way you don't hit any of the magnetic snaps on the lining piece once we get to that next step. Totally up to you. It should be fine because the seam allowance is, I think, a 1/4 inch, but just in case, it might be a good idea. Okay, so now you're going to go ahead and grab your lining pattern piece 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to match up the V-shaped cutout. You're going to place them right side together, and then we're going to clip them, and we're going to sew along the top only using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now we're going to trim the seam allowance down to 1/8 of an inch. Try not to cut any of your stitches that you have there. So do that carefully, and then we're going to turn this wrong sides together. And then you can press it if you need to from the lining side, but I'm not. I'm just going to finger press this. I believe I also get a tool to kind of help get those little points out at the top because mine were kind of rounded. So I did pull out something to help out with that. And then we're going to top stitch the top edge at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And then we're going to baste all edges, um, the right, the bottom, and the left edges to go ahead and connect that pocket together. Right here, I did take scissors and cut a small slit right into that point, just so that everything lays a little bit better when you turn this over. This is where I am kind of rolling the seams because I am using vinyl and a waterproof canvas. I don't really think I should. I mean, you could use an iron if you wanted to here, but I just went ahead and rolled the seams and finger press, and then I used clips to hold that seam down in place before I top stitched that top area. It does come out pretty nice, but like I said, I did end up using a tool here because my points were more rounded than they were pointy. So maybe it's the materials I'm using. I'm not sure, but in the end, it turned out really good. All right, it looks like I have grabbed my pattern piece one. This one has the magnetic snaps, so I think I'm marking my centers right now. So I did, yes, I'm marking centers right now, and I did go ahead and mark centers on other panels, um, just to make this easier. And then I checked to make sure everything snapped into place, and that sound was so satisfying. I don't know about you, but that just came together so nicely. I loved it. This came out so pretty. I love it. I think it looks so pretty. I know how many times have I said I love it. I don't know. Moving on. Um, I think this is where now we are going to go ahead and baste those edges together. Maybe not. I think now we probably need to put our D-ring tabs on. Okay, so yes, that's right. We are putting the D-ring tabs down now. What I did was I measured down 1.5 inches on the right side and the left side, and I want to make sure that the D-ring tabs are actually facing the center of the panel. So your D-rings should be on the inside facing the center of your panel, and the raw edges should be off the edge, and I did leave a little bit overhanging. I can't remember what the measurement was for what I left hanging out, but I think it was pretty, at least 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch or so. Okay, so now we've got the D-ring tabs. attached to the front panel. This is where we're going to go ahead and baste everything together. We're going to sew down the right side, down the bottom, and up the left side. And make sure that your D-rings are not in the way. You don't want to hit a D-ring with your needle. That would not be good here. Okay, so now I've got both of my lining pieces. Okay, maybe one lining piece, and I'm going to attach my credit card slips here on one of my lining panels. I'm going to go ahead and mark the center here by folding this in half and making a little crease mark. I already have my centers marked on the credit card panel because I sewed a line straight down the center of it. So I am placing this down. I think I used 1.5 inches from that top to place the credit card slots down, and then we will sew down the right side, the bottom, and up the left side. I'm going to be doing that at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, and also I will be back stitching at the beginning and the end here. Well, that looks pretty good. I already did test to make sure credit cards fit in those slots, and they do. So we can go ahead and set this to the side. So now I have grabbed my pocket zipper. I've got my exterior main piece, which is piece number 1, I think. I have my zipper overlay and then my lining pocket pieces, and then I've got that sew in label. Um, I am going to measure, I think I did 1 inch down, and then that's where I placed the zipper overlay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did 1 inch down. So I'm making my center marks here. And I believe I already have the center marked on that zipper overlay so that I can make sure this is on nice and straight. I am adding some double-sided tape to the back of my zipper overlay just to make sure that I get good placement and to make sure it does not move around while I'm sewing it down. Okay, so I am going to remove the paper from the tape. And like I said, I have a mark already made for the center on that exterior panel, and then I've got the mark already on the zipper overlay. So I'm just laying that down, starting with the top, just making sure it's nice and straight. I think I grab a ruler just to make sure it is nice and straight. Yep, I do. And then I will remove the paper from the bottom double-sided tape here. And then I will only start sewing around the exterior of that box, not on the inside of that rectangle, only on the outside of that box. So it'll be at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And also here I am placing that sew in label. It looks really pretty there. I also kept my tails long here and I pulled them to the back and tied them and cut them off. Okay, so this is where it can get a little tricky or maybe a little scary for some people. I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half and cut an opening. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut that fabric out that is underneath the zipper overlay. So we're kind of trying to cut out the fabric so that we can create a hole there to put the zipper in. It doesn't have to look pretty. It doesn't matter, just as long as it's out of the way so that we can install the zipper and the pocket here. So just keep it as close as you can to the stitches without cutting your stitches and also without accidentally cutting that zipper overlay. Again, it doesn't have to be pretty, so don't worry about that. Well, look at that. It looks great. You can't even see anything that looks bad on the other side. So now this is where we're going to go ahead and attach the zipper to the lining pieces. I like to make sure that the zipper is opening to the right and closing to the left. I'm just talking about that chalk marks that are on the fabric that can just be wiped off with some water. Um, so we're going to go ahead and lay our lining down onto the zipper. I'm going to go ahead and baste this down at a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then I'm going to flip it over and finger press, and then I'm going to top stitch this at an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance just to make sure it's nice and flat. Now you're going to grab your other lining piece and place it right on top. Again, this waterproof canvas, it doesn't really have a wrong or right side, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm just placing this right on top and lining up the edges here. I'm going to clip it together and I'm going to sew this at a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then I will flip it to where it's on the seam and sew it down at an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance to keep it nice and flat. So now you're going to take that panel and lay that over your zipper, and you want to make sure to have your lining panels open. Um, I have some double-sided tape still on the back of that overlay that's remaining from when I cut open the piece there. So that's what I'm using to hold that in place. So just get that how you want it and get it as straight as you can. And then this is where you're going to sew over that rectangle where the zipper is at an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, and you want to make sure that you are careful not to hit that zipper pull, so make sure you move it out of the way as you're sewing along. So now we are going to close up that pocket. So make sure that your lining is together, and you're going to start at I have it to where my exterior is face up, and I'm going to close up the pocket by sewing only the lining, starting at the top and doing the right side, going down the bottom, and then going up the left side to close this up. I did end up cutting, I did end up going a little bit higher on that bottom where I'm sewing right now, and I trimmed up a little bit just because it seemed like the pocket was a little bit too long for this area. So maybe that's just my fault cutting out my material. Sometimes I just make them too big and end up having to trim things down. As you can see, I'm a very slow sewer. So that's what we're doing here. We're closing up that pocket. Okay, I believe this is the final construction of our Victoria wristlet or crossbody, whatever it is that you are making. Um, so I went ahead and grabbed all my pieces. So you should have your exterior front pocket with the V-shaped pocket, excuse me, and then you're going to have your two lining pieces, and then you're going to have your back panel. So you may have obviously there's other options on here, so you may not have the card slots option, or you may have a pocket on the inside of your lining. Whatever it is, just make sure you have all the pieces here and make sure that all of your center markings have been marked at the top. I am marking the zipper right now. I'm going to be using an air erasing marker. We will be placing that zipper right on top of I think I started with the front panel. So yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna start. I'm not sure, but I think we're about to find out here. Okay, so yes, I'm grabbing that front panel and I'm taking my zipper and I'm going to place it right side down. I'm going to make sure to line up where we made our center marks. I'm going to go ahead and clip it down. I decided to baste here. You don't have to if you don't want to, it's totally up to you. But I went ahead and basted the zipper down and I sewed at an eighth of an inch seam allowance from zipper tab to zipper tab here. This is just to prevent the possibility of a wavy zipper. Sometimes when you are sewing with with a lot of fabrics on a zipper, it can cause it to be wavy. So I just decided to go ahead and baste this down. Okay, so here now you're go ahead and grab your lining piece, whatever lining piece that you would like to be against that front panel. It's totally up to you. I decided to have the lining piece that I don't have anything on to be on that side just because I'll be using that front pocket for my cell phone. So I went ahead and laid my lining right side down. So it should be, your panel should be right sides together. So your zipper is sandwiched here. And we're going to go ahead and sew this down at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and flip this over. And you want your lining to be, you don't want it to be underneath that panel. You want to have that front panel lay on the seam. We're going to go ahead and top stitch on that seam here at an eighth of an inch seam allowance. So now we're going to go ahead and finger press this, and if you're using cotton or something that you can iron, you can choose to do that if you'd like to, but I'm just finger pressing here. Now we're going to grab our other, I guess I'm just placing a clip on here to hold the sides together so nothing moves, maybe to keep it out of the way. I don't know. And then I'm now going to grab our other exterior piece and we're going to match up those center marks that we have. We're going to clip it together and I do baste this down again just like I did the other side, and we're going to baste it from zipper tabs to zipper tab. Okay, so go ahead and grab your other lining piece and you'll want to match up that center marking with the other center marking on that zipper and on the other panel. I'm also making sure that the edges are lining up here, clipping this together, and then I'm going to sew this at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Right now, your lining pieces should be right sides together. And then your exterior pieces should also be right sides together. So now we are just opening this up because we're going to top stitch the other panel down. So you want to make sure that everything is on the left side right now, including that lining piece. So I'm just finger pressing down my front panel onto that seam, and then we're going to top stitch at an eighth of an inch seam allowance right there. Again, everything should be on the other side right now. So I'm just smoothing it out, and here we go. Okay, so here now I'm just finger pressing that lining down. Again, you can use an iron if you'd like to. This is where we're going to start the final construction. You may want to open up that zipper. Go ahead and put it in the center. That way you don't hit anything as you're sewing. And also make sure those D-rings are not in the way. We don't want to hit those as we're sewing. And then we're going to be birthing this bag. So we're going to, I think right here, I'm talking about how your zipper tabs, they should be inside of your lining. So you'll want to match up that seam there. There you go. And then you're going to make sure that the zipper and that zipper tab is inside of your lining. So you don't want that going into the exterior. You want it going inside of the lining. So you'll do that on the other side as well. But as I was saying about taking this bag and we're going to be birthing it, you're going to birth it through the lining. You could birth it through the pocket if you wanted to, but I do think it's easier to do it through the lining here. So at the bottom, I will leave about a 4 to 5 inch opening. That way we can pull it on through. Again, make sure that you have that zipper open at least halfway so that you can pull that through. So I think the seam allowance, I'm not really sure what it was, but it's in the pattern if you'd like to know. I don't remember. So go ahead and sew this according to the pattern. And here we go. Something I forgot to mention, I think. Maybe I did mention it. I don't remember. It's super late. Okay, so when you come across, as you're sewing and you come to your zipper tabs, you do not want to sew over those zipper tabs. You want to sew just around the zipper tabs. So make sure that you're paying attention and you feel for those zipper tabs. Don't sew over those, sew around the zipper tabs. Okay, moving forward. Okay, so here we are. It's time to go ahead and go through the opening of the lining and pull this bag through. Depending on the material that you used here, this could take you a little while or it could be super easy for you. But for me, this took me a few minutes. So you guys have fun. Enjoy. Holy smokes, look at that. That is just so pretty. Oh my goodness. Well, that looks good. I guess I'm keeping that one. I don't know. It's so hard to decide whether to sell something or to keep it, right? And the holidays are here, so here we are. Perfect time to make something and gift it. All right, so here is time to go ahead and close up our lining. I'm going to go ahead and clip this together and then I will sew that down at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and then I will place that lining back into the bag. Oh gosh, look at that. You guys, if you haven't purchased this pattern, now is the time. It's the perfect time to get this pattern. It is so good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and attach my strap to my bag. I can't wait to use this. It's so pretty. I hope that she comes back with that fabric. I just love it. I hoard it because I'm like, oh, I know she may not bring it back. I don't know. But, anyways, here we are. It turned out really good. I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And if you're still here, I appreciate you. And please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss future videos. We do have some videos coming out for the Marathon Society in January and February. And right here, I'm just checking to see if my big phone fits. I have an iPhone 14 Pro Max and it does fit here perfectly. So that is amazing. Um, Works for me. All right, guys, again, thanks so much for watching. And again, thank you so much to Lauren Mormino for allowing us to use your pattern in today's marathon. And go ahead and check out the schedule. I have it linked down below. So in case you miss anyone, you can go and watch them at any time. They'll be available after the premieres have been, well,
premiered. All right, guys, I appreciate you. Again, thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. So, bye, guys.